Alright, so what's going on, guys? First episode of Gibiate, anime review video. Let's get right into it. Alright, so I'll kind of lay out the basic plot, and then I'll give you my impressions of what I thought about this episode. So it looks like it's the year 2030, and we got a girl by the name of Kathleen, and she's recounting the events that have happened over the last 2 years. And it turns out that a virus known as the Gibiate virus has taken over the world and is turning everyone into monsters. Absolutely grotesque monsters. Grotesque, in two senses of the word. The fact that they don't look very pleasing to the eye, and the fact that aesthetically, the staff decided to make them look like 3D abominations, which is absolutely puzzling because the characters themselves look like they're hand-drawn 2D, and so do all the backgrounds. The backgrounds look very stunning, and so do the characters. They look very distinguished and very refined. Not perfect, not as good as Vampire Hunter D. The reason I bring that up is because Yoshitaka Amano, one of the character designers for the show, he also worked on Vampire Hunter D. Now, of course, the budget for a movie and for an anime series are going to be a little bit different, so kind of take that into consideration. But you got these characters and the settings that look very nice, and then you got these monsters that just look absolutely terrible. There's no other way to put it. I mean, it was just scene after scene. It got worse and worse, and I'm like, whose decision was this? Why did they decide to make these things 3D? Not only does it look off-putting because the juxtaposition between having the 2D models next to the 3D models just looks awkward, but the 3D models are just so terrible. It was an abomination to the eyes, to the senses, just to everything, to anime ethics in general. So absolutely terrible. So the virus has taken over all of Japan and presumably all of the world. We then transition over to the Edo period around 1600, and two samurai are on a boat. It looks like they're getting exiled, and then all of a sudden they get transported to the future. Now, of course, we don't know why they were transported to the future. We're just as befuzzled as they are, and of course, because they're from a different era, they're looking at all the structures and buildings, and they're like, are we in hell right now? What is this? And then they eventually run into a hobo who has the Gibiate virus, and he transforms into a monster. And, while they're battling the monster, a girl by the name of Kathleen, the blonde-haired chick, the main chick of the series, she shocks the monster and they're able to get away. And then she kind of debriefs the two samurai about what's going on, about the period that they're in. They reveal that they're from the Edo period. And, she takes them to their encampment. Now, of course, the driver, the guy, decides, oh, hey, you're samurai. Let me go get you my sword, since you don't have a weapon. And he sort of deviates from the main group, and Kathleen and the two samurai go back to the encampment. So, they're kind of setting it up where this guy's probably going to end up turning into a monster, and they're going to have to defeat him to get the sword, so that the main dude, Kanzakai, can, have a sword while he fights these monsters. So pretty easy to kind of foreshadow that and predict. But anyway, they get to the encampment. They learn a little bit more about the Gibiate virus through the resident doctor, Dr. Yoshinaga. And he basically tells them that, look, if you get stung by one of these monsters and you start hearing water in your ears, it means that it's imminent, that you will turn into a monster yourself. However, if they expel their, poison or venom, if you will, it takes 24 hours for it to regenerate. So if they miss, then you're in the clear, but they could still sting you to death. I mean, it is still a sharp object, so you have to be careful. And that's about the end of the episode. So I mean, in terms of the plot, guys, it's relatively straightforward. It looks like they're just going to fight monsters. The doctor is probably going to be looking for a cure the whole time. And I would predict that throughout the series, he's going to find some clues here and there, and they're going to learn more about the monsters. And, it will kind of follow this predictable pattern, and, you know, the two samurai will just kind of fight off these monsters, and I'm sure the threats will get ever greater, and the fights will be ever more epic. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward, really not much to it. So it's kind of run-of-the-mill in that regard. I mean, I've seen end-of-the-world scenarios before, so it will be interesting to see if this one can differentiate itself from the list of other shows that are very reminiscent of this. Again, the artwork, I already explained, the monsters look horrendous, and yeah, the characters so far, I mean, it's only been one episode, but they're very archetypal, you know, tropes, if you will. So we'll have to see if we get a little more exploration, or if they're just going to be relegated to sort of their defined roles. You know, the two samurai will be fighters, and they won't really say much or, you know, help in terms of like mitigating the virus or finding a cure. They're just going to be there to slice things up and look cool while doing it. Kathleen, you know, you kind of get the vibe that, you know, she's going to hang around and that maybe she'll develop a love interest for one of the samurai, and that will sort of be an ongoing sort of plot thread. And then the doctor, you know, he's got to figure out what's going on with the virus. So nothing really profound. I was very excited to see this one, but I kind of felt in my gut that it could end up this way, that it could be rather redundant and sort of run-of-the-mill. So it's only one episode. I'm not saying it's bad, not by any stretch of the imagination, except for the monster aesthetics. I mean, that's just awful. But yeah, we'll have to see how things progress from here, and hopefully it maintains my interest, and it turns out to be an exciting series. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the flip side.